Welcome. I am Rachel Strabley of Hypnosis with Rachel. I'm a consulting hypnotist, and I'm here today with Sharon Lewis, a business coach with ADHD Coach.
And we're talking about breaking business barriers, all kinds of barriers, things that get us stuck in our businesses and keep us from moving forward, and some strategies and mindsets to overcome them. So today we're specifically talking about focus or lack of focus, and how that shows up with our clients and where we take them in order to get around those issues.
I have a story that just popped into my head. Sharon, I had a client, I have a lot of clients with focus issues, actually. As you can see on the slide there, we've got so many things in front of us on a daily basis that we don't know how to stay away from the distractions. But I had a client who needed to study for exams, and she had ADHD. And so we were able to, during hypnosis, gave her different ways of focusing on the things she needed to focus on in that moment in time. And I can say it was a great success. So do you have any clients with focus issues?
All of them at one time or another, myself included. Did you know that the characteristics of people with ADHD and the characteristics of entrepreneurs are very similar?
I think I figured that out by reading up on it and thinking, oh, that's me.
Yeah. Well, and that's, yeah, I think a lot of people, so some people become entrepreneurs because they have ADHD, and that's the best way to deal with their ADHD is to be their own boss. Other people, it just has similar personality traits between the entrepreneurial mindset and people who are managing with ADHD, which I thought was very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're dealing with adults, a lot of people in our age group may have ADHD and were never diagnosed either, right? That was not something they looked for when we were in school. A lot of the clients where focus comes up as an issue is particularly in startups where you're trying to do everything at once, and managing all. Sometimes they're managing like day jobs and starting a business, and then all the different aspects of the business, but trying to create that focus so that they're making progress, as opposed to, I always call it rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I'm like, you're going down anyway, stop moving the deck chairs around. You need to do this thing that's going to save the ship. But the limiting distractions at this point, and besides the fact that we've got so much to do, particularly for startup type businesses, and then you're pulled in multiple different directions, right? So it's all of the life stuff, just the limiting distractions. I've had clients where I'm like, you take your phone, first thing you do is you turn off the notifications on your phone and your computer so that
and leave them off.
Yeah. So you're not picking it up every time it buzzes or whatever. If I'm really having a hard time focusing, I will take it and put it in another room and then kind of like forget where it is, so that it makes it that much easier. It's so much farther away because we've been trained by all our social media and our apps to constantly pick it up and see what it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. Turn your phone off.
Yeah. But some common causes for lack of focus, besides our examples, fear, right? And that could be fear of failure or fear of success. Just fear of accomplishing what you want to accomplish, because what happens next? What if I don't accomplish it? What will people think of me?
Or if you do accomplish it, then how do you top that? Or now you've created this bigger thing. Will you have time for it? Those are things that come up.
And what do you do with it next, right? Yep. Things that are hard, those can be hard to, it makes it that much harder to sit down and focus on something. Oh, or if you don't like it, right?
Yeah.
Things we don't like to do that we need to do for business. I always say, well, there's a couple options. One, is there a way around it? Like cold calling is an excellent example. We've talked about cold calling in the past, right? Of I need to do something to generate leads. And, everybody told me that it's cold calling. I hate cold calling. People either love it or hate it. It's really kind of funny. But, if you don't want to do cold calling and you're really not ever going to do it, then find some other avenue to get the same leads, right? So there's ways around it. Delegating is a way to get around things that you don't want to do. It's looking at it a little bit differently and saying, well, what else can I do, or how do I connect the thing that I don't want to do to something that I enjoy, right? A story with a chiropractor who needed to do networking and really didn't enjoy it. And she liked baking cookies. So she started baking cookies and taking it to the networking events, and that made it more hers. And it was in alignment with her values. So she enjoyed doing it a little bit more. But all kinds of reasons.
It's not specifically about focusing on the one thing, more about changing your focus and doing it differently.
Yep.
Awesome.
So I like this funnel thing because it is talking about going through to eliminate things that you don't really need to do, making things easier if there's things that you can automate, delegating at the end, and whatever's left is then you either work on it. This is an option is procrastinating on purpose. Is you pick things, sometimes it's how long are they going to be important? If it can be done later, you put it back in the funnel and eventually it either gets done somehow or it becomes unimportant. That's actually Rory Vaden's approach to it is procrastinate on purpose. But it is some time management evaluations where you just sit down and you figure out where your time is going. You use Stephen Covey's time management matrix, important and urgent, or not important, not urgent. Rory Vaden adds this procrastinate on purpose of how long is it going to be important and should I really be putting any effort into it? But it's a different way to look at your tasks to say, well, how do I get rid of some of these things so that I have more focus? So Rachel, what do you do when you're trying to get a client to create focus?
So during a hypnosis session, we place priorities in a different color bubble. And so when it comes to tasks for work, I like to use the color green. Or sometimes I'll let my client choose the color that is their work focus. And then anything to do with work becomes that color. And then we visualize one of the tasks that they struggle with under this color. It's hard to explain, but it works.
I was going to ask about how do you visualize a color? But so it's just making everything, when you're thinking about the blog that I have to write, it's a green blog because it generates leads or and then money.
Yeah, so it's focused on work. And if your color is green, the color of money, I like that because you know that when you get that task done, it's leading towards more profits for you. And then you could have, your family color. Mine is yellow. I love the color yellow. That's family, happy. We're going to, maybe create some joyful experiences. And so when you can block it out like that in your mind and visualize the task and you finish the task, and then you can bring forth the feelings of finishing that task. So you feel proud of yourself. you feel energized and ready to move on to the next one. And I also suggest that they have a different, they have a time frame in which to complete the task. And so then we visualize a clock.
Mhm.
And we start the task and we look at the clock halfway through, but maybe, only 10 minutes have gone by. Usually the task that you are having trouble focusing on does not take half as long as what you think it is going to take.
Yeah.
So getting rid of the distractions first, maybe set an alarm, and then just get to work.
I love the alarm clock technique because it creates some urgency too. And also, like, for some things, there's only so much time you should be putting into it, right? I had a client for a while that was spending like an hour or two on one Facebook post. And I'm like, it's not anything that has that much value to it. Set a timer for 5-10 minutes and try to beat the timer, right? So that was creating a sense of urgency. It was also giving them a cutoff on how much time they really should be investing in whatever they're working on. And the other part of that is if you beat the timer, then go take a walk or do something that's goes back to celebrating again or rewarding yourself, is do something nice for yourself because you beat the clock.
And going back to going for a walk, exercise has been proven to increase the blood flow to the brain and therefore helping with focus and attention.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Definitely reward yourself with movement.
Okay. I like the color approach. I hadn't heard that before. The one I heard was actually more of a writing exercise, where if you're visualizing the task, but you're thinking about how you're going to feel if you accomplish it, and you actually write it both ways. So how you're going to feel if you accomplish it, how others will feel about you or react to you if you accomplish it, but then you write it the reverse. If I don't do this, how will I feel? How will others react to me? And it was a writing exercise, which was a different way to same thing, right? Visualize, no colors though.
Yes, in the hypnosis that I do, I only focus on the positive, but as a writing exercise, I think that sounds really good.
Yeah, because sometimes that's a motivator, right? So, and we talked about that before, was extrinsic motivation is sometimes it's avoiding the pain or the feeling that you didn't accomplish things, and that's really what that is. It's creating that extrinsic motivation. So, and I think a lot of it is when we're thinking about visualizing the task. Some of it comes down to time management, right? So a lot of the clients that I work with where they're having problems focusing, it's just learning time management tools that work for them. It's different for everybody. We started off talking about ADHD. That is needs a different approach to time management. It's really different for everybody. But there's a lot of techniques. So you try one, and if it doesn't work for you, you try another one. It's was it 66 days to create a habit? Yeah, I know, right? So if you do it repetitively,
break that down. Break that down.
All right, so do it for a week and then see. But calendar blocking is really just scheduling everything on your calendar. Just like your alarm clock, right? So if I'm supposed to check email for only a half hour in the morning, at the end of that half hour, I'm done and I put it away until I come back to it later again. All kinds of techniques. Theme days, you work on a specific aspect of your business on one day. You don't jump from thing to thing. So maybe, Monday is blog writing and you don't touch it the rest of the week. But really, it's looking for the ways that you can manage your time a little bit more effectively to help create that focus. So your movement rewards again.
Have a little dance party, go for a walk, stretch, yoga, all good for the mind and body.
Yes, it's taking a break. I have one habit that helps me. It's kind of a reward. It's not a reward. It helps create focus. But if I have a client that postpones with me, I have to go for an extra walk that day because I'm like, well, it was a free hour and a half. So then I need to go take an extra walk. Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's a little bit of a break. So, but both Rachel and I have some free content that is on our websites. I forgot to change this slide to say increase focus, but it's for increasing focus, not motivation. And both of our contact information is there. So hopefully we can focus a little bit more, and who knows what we're talking about next time, because I lost focus and I don't remember. But thank you, Rachel. It was nice talking to you again.
Thank you. You too.
All right.